Good evening, dear wine lovers. Tonight I'm going to drink two very different schools of Chardonnays. And although I'm not the greatest Chardonnay freak of all, I want to prove also to myself and also to you that Chardonnay might be the greatest chameleon of all grape varieties and maybe the most skillful transmitter of terroir and masterful winemaking, of course, but it's never going to be overly aromatic or extravagant. So I have two really masterpieces in front of me, and no, none of them are Burgundian. But with the first wine, Le Clos de Grives, we are in Jura, and the other one is Alois Lageder, Alto Adige, Italy. So, but let's maybe put them on the map first. But I'm also not gonna describe the grape varieties very meticulously in this video because there are a bunch of information on the internet already. You can find some of my recommendation in the description, but let's go with the maps.
In the vast sea of Italian wine regions, Alois Lageder is located in the Alto Adige region, which Italy's northernmost wine-producing corner, almost at the borders of Austria. Situated in the Alpine foothills, these grapes see relatively high daily dewness, a lot of sun, good aeration. The airstreams are mostly defined by the cooler northerly winds and the damper southerly breezes from the Lake Garda. As you can see, glaciers, sunny vineyards, and vigorous biodiversity can be found next to each other in combination with around 150 different rock deposits, resulting in widely diverse soil compositions. Regarding the second Chardonnay, we are in the Jura region, in the eastern block of France, only a stone's throw from the western border of Switzerland. Although its climate and limestone-based soil resembles the neighboring Burgundy, Jura experiences even more rain and colder average temperature, and stretching over an approximately 2,000 hectares of vineland, which is less than 1% of France's wine production. Not surprisingly, the majority of the production stays in the country, only about 30% goes to export. There are 4 AOCs in the region. Côte de Jura basically covers the whole region, is being the biggest by far. Le Clos de Grives having their vineyards mostly in the Château Chalon and the Litoile subregions. Although Chardonnay is the most planted variety here, with about 40% of all the plantings, the region's postcard is the unique Vin Jaune, made from the ancient thick-skinned Sauvignon grape, a wine gradually developing under greyish layer of veil, similar to a Fino sherry, protecting it from oxygen, helping with savory and saline notes during that minimum of 5 years of aging. But I'm starting to go off topic now. The wine world is just too huge and freaking bewitching.
So we've been already drinking for these wines for 3 days already. So I want to put my final thoughts with the final drops from these bottles. I already took some notes and I'm actually curious if my impressions hold up. Yeah, so the Jura wine always had more like a cheesy, nutty kind of nose, like a cheese plate with fresh and also aged cow cheeses, I would say. Also like a green almond character, but also this kind of jasmine, some yellow flowery nose, more like in the background, and more like fermented milk, but also some like kind of grape must. So really not fruity nose, but very ripe kind of nuttiness and leasiness takes the lead, I would say, and also like fino kind of aromas or memories at least. Also with some muscat maybe. Yeah, and the palate is really lush. So almost like a peach or a mango like texture, more velvety I would say than the Lageder will be, and more like yellow plum aromas, and also this dairy, this yeasty notes, they are just lingering on your tongue. But the Lageder wine, Gaún, yeah, the nose is, I would say it's a bit more aged cheeses, and this malolactic and lees aging kind of characters are dancing, also a bit riper style of fruits, so really more yellow fruits, more like yeah, slices of apricot or crushed pear. really this apricot notes. So I would say maybe it has more of a fruity character and more of a ripe but not exotic kind of fruit warmth feeling, and slightly oxidative maybe. Yeah, and the texture is also very typical Chardonnay. So the acidity is medium, maximum medium plus, but the texture is very, yeah, long holding, and it can always surprise you, show you a new trick. The Lageda wine has maybe more freshness, more minerality, if you'd like, maybe a bit more saltiness in the palate, while the Jura wine had maybe a bit more salty almond kind of character in the nose. But both wines are very multifaceted, and the kind of lusher flesh and harsher skin tones are dancing and really wrestling on your tongue, but it's never gonna be really like exuberant or electric or harsh, or it's not gonna hurt you, so to say, but it has a good weight on your palate, as actually the Jura wine. So maybe the final verdict, the mouthfeel is really aristocratic and very kind of reserved on both wines, very matchless, masterful examples of this grape variety. Maybe the Lageda wine had a bit more freshness, a bit more minerality, a bit more yellow apple kind of fruity character, and a bit less winemaking maybe, but the Jura wine had some infant tertiary notes already, it's also a bit older, a bit more secondary notes, so a bit more salty, nutty, winemaking, leesy, cheesy kind of notes, but both are very fresh, very kind of lingering, always surprise you. And don't be afraid of Chardonnays, because I'm also not the greatest fan of the grape variety, but not only Burgundy can produce world-class Chardonnays, and the variety can really surprise you and transmit the terroir differences. And really, in the hands of matchless winemakers, Chardonnay can whisper really memorable whispers into your soul. And cheers to Jura and to Alto Adige. Don't be afraid of Chardonnay.